Dan, if they're exaggerating, boasting, wading into miscalculating the number of floors in a building, does that count as perjury?
I don't think that they would be accused of perjury on that simply because it's so absurd to lie about the number of stories in a building. Um, and that being said, that wasn't coming from Don Jr., it was coming from slides that the lawyers were presenting on a screen that then Don Jr. was commenting on. So it's all just kind of, ridiculous, but I don't think that we'll see perjury charges out of them trying to convince the world that 40 Wall Street is 9 stories taller than it actually is.
And going back to Don Jr., what type of witness is he like on the stand? I know you said that the last time he testified, he was joking, talking fast. Was that the same demeanor he had on Monday?
It was. He really seems comfortable on the stand. He has a good sort of back and forth with the judge. He sort of jockeys with the AG's attorneys, but he's respectful. He smiles a lot. He really seems at ease up there. And of course, how could he not be yesterday? He was giving a massive sales pitch. This is what the Trump family does best. He wasn't answering a bunch of super difficult questions. He was basically walking the courtroom through the history of the Trump organization and giving a global tour of its assets. Now, he did have to field a couple of questions from the Attorney General's office on cross-examination. He was noticeably tenser during that time, but that was just a short amount of time compared to the overall length of time that he was on the stand.
And did he move the needle in any way, either helping his case or hurting his case, or even his dad's case?
It's hard to imagine that a pretty PowerPoint presentation with lots of nice photos will convince the judge that the Trump organization and Donald Trump Jr. did not commit fraud by lying to the banks about the value of these assets. I can't see it really hurting the case much either. At one point the judge sort of joked that he had heard a lot of irrelevant testimony. But it went on for a long time, and he also said at one point that he found it interesting, and that the AG's office was interjecting, saying that they shouldn't be able to basically give the sales pitch on the history of the Trump organization, and the judge said basically, look, Attorney General's office had several weeks to present its case. We've only been here for one day. Let them talk about the history of the business. Let them talk about their assets. And plus, I find it intriguing.